I think the one who invents new things in this area will be remembered, not by the whole world and everybody, but by the people who care. Like Twilio, now it's just one of the tools, but back in the day, I was one of the first users of Twilio because I was in 500 startups. And I think same with screenshots and with every business. I think single reason why founders should actually keep doing the business is not money, because money can be made in corporate world and there's more money there. But I think people should be driven by trying to make something that otherwise wouldn't be made. You have to kind of move this whole, what you came into the world, there were screenshot APIs, and your job is to leave this world by lifting the whole thing up.
Okay, today I have the honor to welcome two ex-celebrities in the indie community. Our first guest, Dmytro Krasun. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Pascal. And hi, John.
And
Hi,
my
Dmytro.
co-host, John Rush, the one and only, the most prolific ex and LinkedIn indie that I know. So just for those who don't know you, all of you, Dmytro, tell me a little bit about who you are, and then we'll go to John.
Currently, I'm a founder of a screenshot it's a screenshot API for automating website screenshots for businesses. That's my main product. I work only on it, full focus, and it allows me to pay my bills, and I'm pretty happy with it. Before that, like for probably, 10 plus years, I have been, I was a software engineer and building APIs for different companies, backends, servers, and so on. So then I quit my job, tried to build a few products, and one of them worked, and it's Screenshot One. That's it.
Thank you. John, tell us about you for those who don't know you yet.
So I'm completely the opposite of Dmytro. So I'm working on 24 products, completely unfocused. So my background is from a VC-backed world. I've been running VC-backed startups since 2010. And in 2022, I entered the bootstrap scene and started indie hacking and building in public on Twitter. And now I'm running a lot of SaaS products, AI agents, and a lot of directories. So I'm trying to be an example for people who want to build a lot of things at the same time, because I think it's good to have two examples, because it's just up to people. Like some people are going to flourish while doing one product, and some are the opposite. And before building 24 products, I was working with one product at a time, and I hated it because it was so boring. But I didn't know I could build a lot of products at the same time. And then I tried, and it worked, and now I'm so happy.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that, since, Nusa Labs, we own multiple products, and actually I like the idea of operating multiple products myself. I'm not...
So I'm one against two of you.
I mean, we want to convert you, Dmytro. That's the goal of this podcast.
Is it?
I don't know. So Dmytro, just in the first part of this podcast, in the board session, we go through you. I mean, you talked briefly about your background, the fact that you were a freelance and an in-house developer in different companies before. Tell us a little bit more about Screenshot One, as we're going to dive deeper into it. So what does it do? How it got started? How big it is? And where are you now?
As I said, it's a simple product. It's an API product. It only has 2 endpoints that people use, yes. But it's not as simple as it looks. And basically, currently, I'm at 360 or 70 customers. And these are customers like from tiny companies to large companies, like some of them are even traded like public companies, yes. And some customer, it can be like 10 developers in one company, for example. So it's like currently I see more than 1,000 active developers using the platform. and I have built it. It will be in May 2025. It will be like 3 years since I have been building it, like since I launched it, and it was before that I built like a lot of tiny products. I tried a lot of stuff when I quit my job. I didn't have any idea what to build, but eventually I kind of converged to my initial strengths that I built when I worked as a software engineer. I was like in many companies. I was building APIs, contracts, like designing documents, talking like between teams, like customers support, like, and it's funny that like I just talking about it now and I realized it more and more. And I used it as a strength for building an API product. Like, but I had a set of ideas, and I still have like a lot of them to build. But I just started with one, and then I found 10 customers, 100 customers, and so on, and so on. And now I'm like kind of, I don't want to say it's a trap. I'm super grateful and lucky and so on, yes. But I cannot build another product that feels so much work actually. Like, it looks simple on the outside, but it has so many corner cases. Like actually, I have a log of changes, and it's probably like every day for the past 50 days maybe, like changing for some websites, fixing some stuff, and so on and so on. Like many corner cases, yes. I even don't add new features. So currently I'm solo. I have found a constructor and hired a designer to design the website, yes. But on the core product, I'm still solo, and I am I'm also responsible for marketing, support, all this stuff, sales,
And
integration.
how big is it now? You're doing,
Yes.
I think, 12K MRR, something like that? 13?
Like now it's like almost 15K.
15K,
It's like
okay.
it was 2 months ago, yes. Or when we talked, it was 12. So it's now, yes, I think at the end of February it will be around 15.
Okay.
And yes, surprisingly, it grows well, but like the growth is not growing, like that.
Okay,
That
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's
It's steady.
yes. Like I don't know how you call it in business. It's like the first derivative is zero. It's nothing. It's not
Yeah,
accelerating.
it's steady.
Yes.
That's
So
good.
it's steady. Yes.
It's
And
not exponential.
It's an exponential. Yeah, linear
yes,
growth.
yes. Like people always like I see people are confused and always like when I share some like of my MRR screenshots once a month, people say, "Oh, it's like it grows exponentially," but it doesn't grow exponentially. It's like it's accumulating. Revenue, yes, each month, but it's not. But the growth is not accelerating. So
Okay.
but still, it's good. For one person, it's good to live off. And sometimes I find myself overwhelmed. Like let's say in the past 2 weeks, I had a lot of support tickets to fix, improve a lot of issues, and so on. But okay, so I enjoy to work on it.
And John, you're
That's,
a customer, right? I think actually I just I
yes,
saw that.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I use it for SEO bot, and I think I use it now also for Unicorn a little bit. And so I pretty much plan to use it for all my products because for AI agents, you make good impression to the user when you present them with the screenshot of their website when they are onboarding. So, and I think I will use it in all my onboardings. And I actually recommend everyone who runs AI agents to use the tool for the onboarding, because then the onboarding is more fun.
It's one of the use cases. Yes, I want to try to unlock this onboarding stuff.
Oh yeah, if you just capture all AI agents in the world, just them, you're gonna
That
be
sounds like,
super rich.
that sounds like a big market.
Yeah,
According
because
to my
it's
LinkedIn feeds.
growing. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
growing market. I think it's a growing market, and also in that market, it's really important to make impression on your onboarding. And screenshots are like, not everybody knows that it's smart to show the screenshots on the onboarding. So one way for you to actually educate them about this, because now most of them don't think about this. And if use a case study or you just kind of promote this idea, then they might think, yeah, that would be smart, and they would just use your tool because you're the one who promoted the
Okay.
idea.
Okay, let's do it.
I think it's just the whole thing that I really keep repeating over and over again is that if you want to succeed on the market, you have to define new behavior for the people. So like you can see that I pretty much convinced the whole world that directories are a good thing, and everybody's building directories. And now I have a lot of customers because of that, because everyone is building directories, and you build, everybody builds them. And that's an example. Like there wasn't such a huge demand for directories, but I needed that. I want people to want to build directories so that I can supply my products there. And in your case, you want people to build more agents. You want people to have onboarding flows in the agents where they use the screenshots so that you can supply your API there. Also, you want people to build the blog generators, for example, so that you could supply your thing there, like we use. We use it for listicles, where like a lot of others are not using screenshots for listicles. If you look at other AI blog generators,
yes.
we're almost the only one who does it.
Yes.
They all should do it because the whole blog article looks way better when you have screenshots of every tool you talk about, right? So I think for you, one thing is to find those who already do that, but what's even better, you should promote the idea that people should build those tools. That's where you're going to get way better traction. Like if you convince 100 more people to build AI blog generators, the chance that they will use your API is almost 100% because they get attached to you because you were the one who convinced them. That what happens with my directories, for example. Like people who build directories because they saw me talking about directories, they end up buying a lot of my products because they have this connection.
One of your challenge that you had mentioned to me before our conversation was growth. So we're right in the middle of it. How, like John, how would you convince people to do that? Would you do videos? Would you promote that every day? Like what's your method to convince people that in your case directory was important, or in Dmytro's case that screenshots is important for AI agents?
Yeah.
Also onboarding. It's a nice use case. Like I have it in mind.
Well, directories are even bigger. Basically, almost every directory needs screenshots because they show screenshots on the pages of the products, right? Usually the product means URL, and URL has the screenshot there. And in the world right now, there may be like 100K directories, or it's maybe 1 million. And they all need screenshots because the products are changing, and if they had fresh screenshots, it would be cool. So I think one way for you to grow exponentially is to connect your thing into the other CMS tools so that the screenshots will be generated automatically. Like, for example, in Webflow, Unicorn, Framer, all those tools. And that will basically, triple your growth overnight once those plugins and widgets and connections are in place, because people really need that. It will save them time. Like if somebody has 500 items in their directory, imagine how much time you save them. Right? So I would do that as a first thing. Like I would make sure that I'm talking to every popular CMS in the world that's used to build directories. Like you find 20 of them, for example, and I'm building a plugin for all of them. That would be like number one thing I would do, because that will, once that's done, you will have traffic just like water flowing to you. No work to do after. And then the other thing I would do is in social media, I would adopt a strategy where my content would always be about the tools that people can build which benefit my product. Because you can talk about a lot of things, right? But let's say if you talk about directories and agents, then you're promoting the thing that benefits you at the end. And I think it's not like you're putting people into a trap, because in fact you're promoting cool things, but like there are a million things you can talk about. And why do you say this and not that, right? Like it's difficult to pick the topic to talk about. But if you just put yourself a rule that I will speak about the things that will benefit my product, but also benefit the reader, because the readers want to read about directories, they want to read about agents. For example, people are willing to read a tutorial about building an agent, and like if you go today and spend a day and you create a good thread on how to build a directory from zero to launch, and you actually do that, something simple, some small thing, like I think that will be something people really, really want, because there is not so much content like that on the internet. And you will win there as well, because on one of the steps, you will use your own tool. So that's what I do. Like, I think it's a good mix of, it's partly you're manipulating people by putting your own tool into the thread and pushing them to build something you will benefit from. But from other hand, if that thing doesn't benefit the people, nobody gonna care. So if you promote something that's only beneficial to you and it's not beneficial for the users, nobody gonna like, nobody gonna bookmark, nobody gonna comment. So your tweet will die. That's why if it doesn't die, then it's by default good and people benefit from it. So don't hesitate of doing that, because I feel like, a lot of founders find that like a marketing trick, like marketing move, but there is not. Like, you giving people what they want, and they're happy to take it.
First of all, Pascal, can we just cut this, because my competitors will be happy to see all the jobs online. Let's talk about something else and just cut this one. I will remember it. Yes, thank you.
Well, I mean, you have, but I mean, your unique advantage compared to all your competitors is that you already start with an audience of 20,000 plus people on X, right? So, and that's hard to reproduce. So if you are talking to your audience about these topics, then you are benefiting the most from it because you have the audience. If you had only 1,000 followers, it would be much harder.
It's a bit, I see it a bit differently, because like I don't feel it's an audience, and I see that some tweets trigger some people and some tweets trigger another people, and like you have a difference in with whom you talk and so on. And like till today, probably maybe till yesterday, like most of the time my strategy was something like talking to friends, and it like it's not even a strategy. I just talked like to friends, and that's it, and that's how it happened. But I'm afraid of the downside, because I love all these conversations, about business, about talking with journals and other people. But it feels like selling soul, I know it sounds banal and pretty, like, but it feels like some kind of trade-off. If I start, let's say, if I start talking about building AI agents and like you should like full focus on the topic, yes, and like kind of selling as a side effect, selling my product. First of all, I see such posts from different people, and I rarely interact with them, because I feel like I see like their funnel, yes, and it feels like I'm the one who is like been sold to, yes. And on the other side, like I'm afraid kind of to lose friends, people I talk to, kind of.
No, but
like,
I mean, I think that I would say a few things on that. I think that first of all, you can write it in ways that feels authentic to you. The second thing is that you are sitting at a point where you're seeing how people are using your products. Whereas for agents or for directories, for example, and most of us don't. We don't think about it. And so if you're showing how people are using either your product or other things to build cool things, that's something that people are very excited about. I mean, I think that there's a huge appetite right now to learn from others on what is cool that is being built. And that's a new thing. I mean, I've been in tech for 20 years, and there has been moments in history where it has been the case, but not always. Like if 5 years ago, everybody cared about unicorn status and all that stuff, and nobody cared about what you were actually building. People cared about trend that attracted investors, not about what people were actually building. And I think that if you focus on the craft of what you're building, for example, why, like directories, why is it important? It's important for different reasons, but the problem is that it can be stale. How can you make them not stale? You can make them not stale with screenshots or with other means that you've seen your customers use different tools. It can be yours, it can be others. And so I think that you're benefiting from people that are building directories, for example, if you are showing best practices. The same way, if people are using for AI agents, I mean, very few people know actually how to build it. What's best practice? How to think about them? It's new. It's very novel. And I think that there's a huge appetite to understand what it means and how to not be lost in the middle of building an agent. So I think that it's not only selling yourself out, because you can always tweet, especially on Twitter. You can tweet about other topics. You can tweet about your friends, about your walks in the desert with other indie founders. I mean, all these things can still be part of your journey, I would say. And I think it makes it more authentic. I mean, John talks sometimes about the future of families or the future of whatever, which doesn't have direct impact on his business, but it's something that he cares about. So I think that you can still be your full self without completely selling yourself out.
I see, yes. It's a good point. Thank you. It's actually what I started to do like in the past few days. I just started to build stuff and share it, like it's still, I'm kind of crafting a new format which can fit.
It was cool. I saw it today and I liked it. So I kind of felt like you're finally doing it because otherwise you were kind of lost. Like I didn't see your tweets on Twitter for a long time unless I go to your profile, but now I started seeing you again in the feed. But I think, this dilemma you have is, you think it's coming from you being kind of noble and good, but I think it's partly coming from you being partly arrogant, thinking that everybody is like you. And most people who read Twitter are not like you, and they actually benefit from the things you don't benefit. Like, for example, some things that look obvious to you are not obvious to everyone. Or some desires, for example, you already have desire to build stuff. You're already building your business. And 98% of people aren't building anything yet. And for them, seeing someone building something or somebody being excited about something, that thing looks to you like a funnel, but for somebody else, it's a reason why they maybe start a side project, or maybe they plan to, become an indie hacker. So at the beginning, I had similar views to those you have, and I had some friends, and we talked a lot. And then I kind of understood that you should always see the crowd not as multiple versions of yourself. Like, they're different people at different levels and with different skills and different knowledge. And very often, even if it's kind of useless to you, like most content, you don't want to write because you think, if I read that, I wouldn't be liking it. But in fact, most people are not like you, and they would probably like it because they just know less, or they have less, they have more time. For example, anyone who is just starting with the indie hacking or startups, most of their time is is spent on consuming the inspiration, the knowledge, the understanding, and building up their intuition and all those things. And for them, it's very helpful too, right? So just look at them as kids. Like I do it all the time. So I look at my reader. I hope that doesn't sound offensive, but I look at them as my kids. Where when you play with your kids, you don't think like, if I was, if somebody played with me like that, that would be kind of stupid, right? But no, like
Okay.
you don't think like that. You look at yourself from the eyes of your kids. You don't look at yourself as from your own eyes, but from the eyes of your kids. And in that case, your whole behavior is a little bit cringy. It's strange and it's embarrassing. Like the way you behave with kids, if you remove kids from the room and you behave the same, it will look embarrassing, right? But with kids, you don't feel embarrassing because kids need that. From their point of view, that's what they want. And that's what I was trying to explain in the previous chat, like 5 minutes ago, where people want certain things and you give them those things. Like kids want certain play, you give them the play. Junior founders or just all the founders, some of the founders want certain things, you give it to them, even if you personally wouldn't take that, but it's just the way it is. And you're useful in that case. You're very useful in that case.
It's interesting because I often see, a lot of people like who build simple demo, but not something real. And they think, wow, I should just expose some of my stuff and show how to build real stuff, And but it feels arrogant, a little bit.
Yes, that's what I say. And I often see that from people when somebody takes AI and builds a tool, and obviously this tool is not a crazy complicated tool, because obviously AI can't build the crazy complicated stuff. It's an average tool. And then people come in there and say, oh, right, try now building this. But there's no point in that comment, because the whole point here is that there are a lot of people, like 100 million people, who yesterday couldn't build literally anything without money. They had to hire somebody, and today they can actually build something just overnight using these tools. Obviously, those tools they built will be simple, but for them, like for you, it's simple. You can build cool stuff, right? Complicated stuff, but for them, it's like huge. Yesterday they could build nothing. Today they can build something, and you're pretty much too arrogant to say that that's useless crap what you build, guys. Because in fact, for them, it's not useless.
I don't. But yes, no. I mean.
I think that if I were to summarize what we've just talked about, I think that in a way you should lean in on what you're already doing, and you should do it more of it, and have some themes that will speak to your audience. So I think that one of the takeaway I take from the conversation and what John just said is that focus on not talk only about Screenshot One, because in a way, Screenshot One is very specific to you and it can be a little bit boring, even though you should talk about it, but talk about the general trends that are interesting to customers or to potential customers that you attach yourself to. In your case, directories and AI agents, for which having your product, Screenshot One, would be a strong benefit.
Yes, that is so smart, actually. It's kind of yes. Like it's just one step further, like above or level above from what I do now.
Before in San Francisco, I was the first head of marketing at a company called Checker, which was providing background check API for. And the conference I had put together was not a conference about background check or even about safety. It was about the gig economy. So Uber's, DoorDash, all these companies in the US were invited to speak at the conference. And as we were promoting these trends, a lot of people wanted to be part of this trend. And obviously that made Checker resonate more to a wider audience. So I think that's what John's talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Yes.
So second challenge that you mentioned to me, you have questions about your future. I mean, we all do, but in your specific case, it's about your career. You were, I mean, today Screenshot One is decent sized, but the question is about whether you should stay solo, where you should build a larger company, where you should focus on single products versus build a portfolio. Go more up market towards enterprise, or stay with current segments. So you have all these questions about what type of company and career you want to build as a founder and as an indie founder that you mentioned to me. And so, I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to have John in this discussion is that you have made the choice of going multi-product. And I thought it would be interesting to hear what you've learned, both what you like about the multi-product path and what you maybe dislike, or at least like less of it, so that Dmytro can hear both sides of that story and as he considers that option.
Yes. It was a kind of a question, Pascal. We had a call, and it was January, probably. Yes.
Yeah.
I was at the stage of like contemplating, like I just reached this 10K mark thing, and like it was my goal for a long time, so on and so on. And I was so happy, and now I'm not now, yes, but 2 months ago I was thinking about, okay, like what to do next, how to choose what to do next, and so on and so on. Yes, currently I have somewhat an answer, like, but I decided like to go into the directions like in the light way. Yes, but yes, it could be a cool topic to discuss if you're up to it.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I would not recommend building more than one product to most people, just because it's actually hard, and it's like, unless you enjoy the state of the chaos and the state where you have to switch things like I do. So I enjoy it. I like when things go crazy, and when things are just okay and everything is great, I'm not that happy. So I like to torture myself with uncertainty, but it's very, very rare case. And I think I haven't seen many people who enjoy that as long as I do, because I do that for so many years. And everybody on Twitter thinks that I will burn out. Whenever I don't tweet for a few days, people think I killed myself or whatever. But it's never the case. I never felt even bad for even a minute. I get tired sometimes, but I think for your case, from all I know and all I read from you and all the chats I had with you, I think you're the type of person who will have the best life while building one product. But I think one issue that you will face, and you're facing probably already now, is that you probably don't feel significance of the thing you do. So it kind of brings you money, but you don't feel that it's a significant thing for the world or something like that. And I think one way for you to find the significance in your action, because you want to be useful to the world, and while you had no revenue, you didn't think about that because you had the problem of survival, and then every extra sale was making you happier. But now after 10K MRR, things won't change much. Like 20K is not that much different from 10K. Like 10K is already great, right? And that's why now you kind of lose the same momentum you had in your motivation. And now you start, like in this Maslow pyramid, you start thinking about more philosophical things. And to answer this struggle, I think you should try to enlarge your project so that it becomes more useful and more impactful and more significant for the world. So now you say your project is just an API, like 2 endpoints. So whenever you talk about your project, I felt this kind of sadness that you feel like some people are launching rockets and I'm just building 2 endpoints. And that's bothering you, and that will keep bothering you because you're at the age when you want to be rather useful than just making money. And I think the answer to this is try to turn your project into something way more useful than it is now. Right? And there are many ways of doing that. One way is to do nothing but change your perception. Like now you look at your project as two API endpoints, but if you look at differently and you start looking at the projects that use your API and how useful those projects are because they also use your API, then you suddenly feel that your whole job is more useful to the world. Right? For example, if the agent is using your API and the agent is super useful, then you're super useful. Right? That's one way. That's more like philosophical way where you can just change the way you think. The other way is to actually change the product and think. I think I gave this idea in the past where you supply agents with APIs to replaced manual labor with the software, right? And that's cool. You save time, a lot of time, and you increase quality of the product. Like the same product now has a screenshot, before it didn't have screenshot, so it looks better. And you can go further and you can supply the same products with more APIs so that they save even more time and then they look even better and they're even more useful. And I would probably do that. If I were you, I would go that direction. I would think like, what's the most, like I take all the clients I have and I see what's the other API they all need. Like
Yes,
all
yes.
my current customers, what's the next API, the
I
most
know
important
this.
one that they
Yes,
need?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I built that. And maybe your role in this world will be, uh, building APIs for agents and saving this a lot of time for all those founders, and then you're going to be proud about it.
I mean, the other thing is that if you think about AI agent as an important economic engine for the future, being a crucial part of these agents is a very valuable thing to be. I mean, you enable these agent economy to flourish. And so that's significant, even though, like, I worked at Checker. Checker is a background check API. I mean, Twilio is an SMS API. I mean, how important is it? And yet it allows the whole economy to flourish. So I think that it's easy to get distracted by, especially on X or on LinkedIn, by all the people that are changing the world. And when you go to some companies and people are talking about changing the world every sentence, you start questioning yourself: am I wasting my time, or are they completely lunatic, or both? And I think that you have to. There is a craft element in what you do and how you do it, and that matters. And I think that's important. And on top of that, if you are part of these two trends that we talked about earlier, as a growth strategy for you, you are an important part of something that is going to be important for the future.
Yes, I actually like, since we talked like it was 2 months ago, I actually did a lot of changes, and I already started a side project which helps me, and I started to build this tiny. You see, it's hard for me to call these AI agents. I just call them tools. Yes, but helping me with some stuff, and yes, I see a lot of value, and John is right. There is something like, you reached this goal of like making money enough for your life, yes, and now there is another question, like, why? Like, why are you doing all this, and what do you do, and so on, yes, and it's interesting one. You
Yeah.
say about.
Also, there is one more thing that I do personally,
Mhm.
which is whenever I reach the money goals, the next goal that moves me for a very, very long time is making my product the best. So basically, when you're trying to do something the best, it's like, for me, it's never about competition. So I'm not a competitive guy. I'm not like the guy who likes to win, but I like to do something that otherwise wouldn't be done. And whenever you build anything, it's always possible to do it in a way that nobody else has done, in a good way, right? In a good way. And and that goal is really cool. It's cool to pursue that goal. Like for example, I'm like all the products I build, I always have the goal to build it in a way that it's something that never existed before. Like even if I start with something that exists, uh, but my goal is never to just make another copy of something that exists. So, and I think if you do that, then you detach yourself from money. Like you stop thinking about the revenue, and you don't even care that much about the revenue and the growth anymore, and you care more about that the feedback from the users where they actually say that your tool is the best I ever seen. Like and that journey is really cool because it will never end because the money journey is a bad journey because at some point you feel like you're making enough money and then what's next, right? But here you can never be done. Like this job can never be done. You'll be forever trying to make it, the best and the best and the best. And I like that. And I think in your case, I use these tools a lot, like the APIs, and I think there's so much that can be done there. And I think the one who invents new things in this area will be remembered, will be not by the whole world and everybody, but by the people who care. They will remember that tool, like you just mentioned, Twilio. And Twilio, now it's just one of the tools, but back in the day, they actually, like I was one of the first users of Twilio because I was in 500 startups, and they were also there. So it's kind of old story. And back then, SMS was really hard. Like there was no proper API like they had. You had to actually partner up with every telco, and they all had their own APIs, and you had to figure out what's the telco used by the specific phone number, and then you send through them. So it was really complicated, and every telco would bind you to a contract where you prepay. It was super expensive. And when they came in and they took that all away, they just simplified the whole thing like by 100x probably. So it was like more than 10 years ago. And back then we thought that they are heroes. Like, and I think they were super proud of themselves. But they didn't build anything crazy. It wasn't AI. It wasn't a rocket. It was like, in fact, it was a simple thing. But the business and the way they negotiated the deals with all the telcos in the world, and they dropped the price. It was so cool that everybody respected them. And I think same with screenshots and with every business. I think single reason why founders should actually keep doing the business is not money, because money can be made in corporate world and there's more money there. But I think people should be driven by trying to make something that otherwise wouldn't be made. Like you have to kind of move this whole, what you came into the world, there were screenshot APIs, and your job is to leave this world by lifting the whole thing up. So it has to come somewhere higher than where it was. And if you do that, if you have such goal, and if you see yourself progressing towards that goal, you have really good feeling. Like you feel really, really good, and people gonna tell about that, and they're gonna give you the credits, and you're gonna be super happy about that.
It's actually one of the kind of goals I set. Not goals, yes, but kind of goals I set. Is like actually want to improve uptime, this error rate and so on, so on, so on. But all this about now I can not now, but now I can focus, yes, actually making my customers happy, and I want them to open my product and to cry,
Yeah.
to tell their friends, to tell like everybody. And currently it's a screenshot API, yes, but it doesn't matter actually. Whatever product I build, yes. And
I mean, and with AI, with OCR, you can build a lot of things on top of screenshots anyway. So
I actually started to build like small prototypes and for my customers, and they write me now in support and ask, for example, how can I integrate this with Python to analyze the page to find something on them, and so on and so on. And in a few hours, I just answer with a working prototype of Python, sending them an example with a guide. it's crazy. It wasn't. It's another topic, but it was impossible before, and people just the guy just answered like, "Thank you, I am subscribing." That's it. Was like it was his answer, Like I just and what I wanted to say about it, that and this feeling drives me. Yes, like this, like I just helped this person, and I made him happy, and I can this one I think I can stick with it like for a long time. This one, yes, like it's just. That's since we talked, like 2 months ago, it was like I didn't know what to do at all. But then I started to talk to people, to founders, and I started finding something that resonates in me. And these goals, like of making customers happy and employees, if I have them later, yes, feels like resonating. And crafting this product till it's like, till people, like when people think about any solution in this space, they can only recommend you. Like, and there is like,
Yeah.
it's a bit of, it's competitive thing, I think.
So we'll finish this podcast with questions. Actually, I may ask both of them to answer to answer them if you want. So my first question is one question that I used to ask in interviews before, and that I like a lot, which is, what did you learn from your mother?
Who is answering first?
I learned that you have to be tough with the people you love rather than just soft. So love is not just being soft and giving everything you're asked. And I kind of use that with my users. So you might think that you should just give them anything they ask, but often you have to be tough with them and give them something they need, not what they think they need, but what they actually need. And not always they actually know what they need. And that's the same with children. So that's kind of the main thing I learned.
Dmytro, what about you?
Like my mother was the kindest person I know, like objectively, like I can talk objectively about that. And the lesson probably would be like something like John says, like this. You can be super kind, but the problem with that people start using you, that people treat it like as weakness often, and like actual kindness, it's like it's funny, like it's almost like the John says, like it's about doing what needed to be done, and not what you think is nice and funny and I don't know, lovely and so on, and that's maybe the lesson, yes.
Yeah,
But
the difference between nice and kind, exactly.
yes, I just,
Kind is it can be tough.
yes,
You can be
kind.
tough and kind, whereas when you're nice, you just want to please.
Like if you want that people think of you like as you're a nice person, it doesn't always work. You sometimes you need to be tough and do what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so interesting question.
And my last question: what is your most controversial view of the impact of AI in the next 3 to 5 years? So I'll start with you, Dmytro, quickly, and then we'll go to John.
Controversial view on AI and impact in the next
3 to 5 years.
Can we start with John, because I have never thought about this topic like deeply, I have so
John.
many
So John,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the architectures we use now won't bring more progress than what we have now. So I think the AI we have today won't improve as much as everybody hopes. I think we will have like 10 to 20% improvement rate year over year, which means in 3 to 5 years it may be going to double in the power or in the usefulness, but not more than that. I think the progress we had so far from 2022 to today was bigger than what we're going to have, than what's left in this architecture, right? it's less left there. So we're pretty much around 90% of what's possible with current architecture. And I think that basically means that the whole game moves towards application layer. And I think the coding, the UX, and the ideas, the business logic, all this will be the most important. And the LLMs themselves will become almost like hosting, like nobody cares. Like there's some LLM who cares, but then the app itself, the logic itself, what creates magic, which is not what most people think. And most people really think that AI will just eat everything and the application layer won't be needed and you will just ask AI and it will just do the thing. But that's not the reality. I think the app builders like us are going to have the best time ever. Like the next 3 years, 5 years will be the best time ever for people who build applications.
It's funny because like mine is close to this, but coming from another direction. So if you take economy, like something as complex as economy, and if you see a lot of different, niche markets, bubbles, I would say, yes, you have this bubble of software engineering, of software, and it's slowly, but it eats the world, yes. If you try to find any bottleneck for that, it will be people. It will be like bureaucracy, people, politicians. Like you cannot enter the software engineering into some areas. What I mean by that we have kind of sphere of exploding sphere of software, which slowly eats the world, yes? And what happens with AI, in this sphere, we have some kind of evolution progress, we rebuild apps in a different way, some new companies emerge and so on, yes? But the bottleneck is still like physical material world, yes? And this one, I didn't research a lot, yes, about robots, all this stuff, yes? But I feel like from what I see here, like physically in the world, we still have these tax authorities, all this paperwork, a lot of this stuff. And this feels like one of the hardest one to beat of these bottlenecks. I don't think people will lose jobs. I don't think it will be so fast like in the next 2-3 years. What I think is happens like it's the same as John says, like it feels like we will just rebuild our applications and how we interact with them, and in a more we will build a lot of cool stuff, yes, but it still will be that bubble of software eating the world. It's not. I don't know if we can solve the bottleneck of people, bureaucracies, all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it feels that's if I, for example, if I was. It feels like that is the bottleneck, the problem. So if I see, for example, we are suddenly automatic, I don't know, our taxes, our like building stuff, even physical building. For example, prices on apartments, on all this like houses and so on, prices are growing, yes, and there's a lot of reasons and so on. I'm not an expert, yes, but I see like from my local place where I live, I see a lot of demands for builders, and for people to build stuff, and you cannot use robots now here. And so there is a bottleneck, and it doesn't matter how much you advance your software, AI, LLMs, whatever you build, there's still a lot of bottleneck in a lot of areas and in economy. And so it feels like we are just in this, I don't want to call it a bubble in a bad way, I want to call it like kind of a sphere like of software. And in this one, we will have some advances like John says, exactly like John says. I agree with him, like rebuilding applications, new stuff, improving workflows. It will be nice. Like I'm really excited about this, like, but I don't think like the world will change a lot in a few years,
Yeah. I mean, so what? No. I mean, so what I'm hearing is that you don't think that the AGI, super general intelligence will be there in the next 3 to 5 years, which, I mean, I don't believe that either. I mean,
no. I mean, it can happen. I work from the perspective, like kind of religious perspective, yes. Like that AGI will come anyway, and we will reach it, and so on. Like I just assumed it, and it's easier to work from that perspective. Okay, AGI will come. How can I adapt today for it? Yes. So, But what I say, even if we have a GI today, let's say, yes, I don't see how it can change, let's say, bureaucracies, opening businesses in countries and building stuff, all this, and the problem is that I'm not an expert, and if I don't see it, it doesn't mean that it won't happen.
No, of course, yeah, of course. No, I mean, what you're saying, what I'm hearing from both of you is that there is going to be, at some point, it's going to confront itself to the complexity of a human world, and unless you completely remove yourself from these constraints, you'll have these constraints for sure. Well, thank you very much, both of you. It was a great episode of Indie Board Session, and we'll follow you both on X or on LinkedIn, and hopefully, Dmytro, we've been helpful for this Indie Board Session.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.